The following is a presentation of the Match Talk Podcast Network. It's time for the ODU Wrestling Monarch Mattcast, a show dedicated to all things related to the Old Dominion Wrestling program. On the web at monarchmattcast.com. Now, here's your host, three-time National Wrestling Writer and Broadcaster of the Year, and 2004 ODU alumnus, Jason Bryant.
Season 5 of the Old Dominion Monarch Mattcast is here with episode 54. Jason Bryant here with you. Proud Old Dominion alum, still celebrating two really wacky football victories over the course of the last couple months. Today, our guest associate head wrestling coach, Daryl Thomas, as Monarch Wrestling is here. It has taken place. Its first weekend is over. Daryl Thomas, we had a lot of guys wrestling this past weekend up at Princeton.
Yeah, we had a ton. I think we had 28 total. Almost our whole team, and saw some good things, saw some things we got to work on. Obviously, with any early season tournament, that's what you expect.
With the dynamic, this is a new event, and it's a new event on Old Dominion's schedule. Going up to Princeton, Chris Ayers and his crew up there have done a really good job at bringing that program. Essentially, it was cut at one point and then brought back, and then they brought in Chris Ayers. He's got a really good staff there. And, what about the hosts? How did Princeton do, and how did Princeton make, the Monarch faithful feel when it came to not necessarily the wrestling aspect, because they did get the better of a couple of our guys, but in terms of just putting on a good event?
Oh, it was a great event. Very smooth from start to finish. A couple kinks in the beginning, but they got those ironed out real fast. And I thought it was a great event. Hospitality room was good, so that's always good. And then, the officiating I thought was pretty solid as well. Not a ton of hands to the face stuff with that new rule going on, but I thought everything all around was a pretty good job.
And when you say hands to the face, I actually had a discussion with Mark Branch, the head coach of the University of Wyoming, earlier today. And the rule, it's been in the rule book, but it is a point of emphasis this year. So, Monarch Nation, if you're out there watching wrestling and you see a fist go out towards, now, not from the wrestler, but from the referee, and it's like the stalling call, only it's out directly from the chest, that is unnecessary roughness. That's a hands to the face call. And what that means is basically the area like below the eyebrows and above the mouth. So that chin, eyes area, that's pretty much off limits. And that can actually impact people who are used to posting on the head and maybe their hands sliding down and things of that nature. So some people are fearing the worst with that. But you said you didn't see it too bad up at Princeton?
Not too bad at all. At least with our guys. Obviously, we're focused on our guys. We kind of talked to them before, said, hey, let's adjust how we're doing it. And I know a bunch of coaches, put that out there on social media, let's tell our guys not to do it. And I get that, but at the same time, it is something that's been used for a long time in wrestling as kind of a setup to stun a guy a little bit. And if you're doing it the right way, I think it is effective. But like I said, we talked to our guys, told them to adjust, and they did a good job of that. So.
Yeah, the key is the difference is a poking a guy in the eye, which is not legal, or cramming a guy in his face versus a pop or a post on the forehead.
Right.
It's a fine line, but in theory, you're still good to post on the head before setting up a shot. The forehead versus hitting the eyes or blocking the eyes or hitting the eyebrows.
For sure, you just got to be a little more deliberate with your placement. So.
A little more crafty as well. Now, as we look at the performances, and we still don't have the lineup set, although we will talk a little bit about the lineup going into Sunday's duel at the TED on the 11th against number 7 Missouri. Before we even get to that, the performances at Princeton, we had, like you said, 28 guys wrestling, several placers, starting at 133 pounds. Steve Simpson was 4th, and you also had Savion Haywood placing as well. And you're looking at wrestle-offs. I mean, you got true freshmen in there. You got a seasoned guy like Simpson. Lineup-wise, what do you determine? What do you look at when you've got an upperclassman and a guy coming in green in terms of who's going to be that starting spot this year at 133?
Yeah, I think it's a ton of things we're looking at. Obviously, Savion won the wrestle-off, and then we always tell the guys ahead of time, wrestle-offs are just a piece of the puzzle, and we're looking at who's going to be the guy. And Simpson responded with a good tournament. Obviously left couple things out there that he wishes he could probably have back. He was a couple positions away from being in the finals and just made a couple mistakes early. But Savion, this was a true open, and there was no there was no freshman sophomore division. So for him to come through and lose his first match and then come all the way back and take fifth and beat some pretty tough guys along the way was positive to see his response. So right now we're talking about that as a staff and who's going to go, and I'm sure it'll be an ongoing discussion throughout the year. But when we do, if we do pull Savion out, we just want to make sure it's the right thing for him and that he believes he can compete at a high level right away. And if he doesn't believe that, then there's no need to put him out there. So there's some things we're still working through and deciding who's going to go on Sunday, and we'll continue to evaluate that as the week goes on.
Yeah, we jumped over 25. We didn't have anybody placed there. Mikhail McGee out for a little bit. What's the status of him, and when can we expect to see him in the Monarch lineup?
It's a possibility he could go this weekend. We're working through a couple things. He's been back on the mat for a couple weeks now, and looks good. So he could be out there. We're not sure what we're going to do there yet, but we got another very capable guy in Killian Cardinal. I know he didn't place this weekend. Lost a couple matches, very tight matches that could have gone either way. And he knows his mistakes. Working with him today, correcting those things. So he knows where he got to clean up, and he's not far off from really making a name for himself as well. So we like both of our options there, whether McGee goes or not, and we have faith in Killian as well.
We look at 141 pounds. Sedarian Perry, transfer from Eastern Michigan, All-American coming in, and wrestled 2 bouts and then opted to come out. Now, what's the theory there from a coaching staff? I mean, this is not as specific to an ODU thing. Guys come in, all right, we'll wrestle a couple matches, and then the point of an open isn't necessarily always to win it. So what's the mindset here with Perry at 141?
Well, I think the big thing was he had a little tweak, nothing major or anything, and at the end of the day, it's not, his season is not defined by winning the Princeton Open and, injured. So he had a little tweak, and we decided it was best to go ahead and pull him. But at the same time, I mean, again, his goals are much higher than winning the Princeton Open. And right now, he looked good in his first 2 matches, and if he wasn't 100%, there's no reason to put him out there and risk furthering an injury that could be healed up pretty quickly. Just give him the rest and take the necessary precautions with our training staff.
Of course, there's also a looming All-American this weekend. We'll talk about that here in a bit. 149 pounds. Keenan Carter, this is a kid that, when he was recruited, the staff was high on, said he had a lot of upside, a lot of potential, really had a kind of a breakthrough year last year, finishes 3rd, loses a tight one to Alfred Bannister, who's been to the show a couple times for the University of Maryland. And where are you seeing his progression? I mean, he's a guy that definitely should make the show this year at 49.
Yeah, and for him not to be there and put himself in position to give himself a chance to be on that podium would be a huge disappointment. But he's made strides more than anything mentally. And he stayed all summer and trained. He only went home for like 2 days. He trained straight through the summer. He had such a bad taste in his mouth about last year. So, tight one to Bannister. Bannister's a tough guy to wrestle with.
He's like 5 foot. He's like negative 5 feet tall. He's like built like a tree stump.
Tough matchup, and Keenan had a little bit of a slow start in the match early on, but trying to adjust to that difference in height and things like that, I think that was a big factor. And but Bannister uses his God-given abilities well and uses it to his advantage. So credit to him for that. But I think Keenan was right there in on the leg to win the match at the end, and just kind of got kicked out. And that's the difference sometimes at that level. So, but we're very excited about Keenan. And I think he's very excited, but like I said, his main thing is mentally he's made huge strides to this point. So I'm just excited to see what he does this year and very excited for him.
157 pounds. Depth is a good thing to have. There's several bodies here, 2 of which the most seasoned of the group, Larry Early and Kevin Budak. Now, Larry finished 2nd to Mike D'Angelo, who was technically taking a year off, so he did not represent Princeton. He represented the New Jersey RTC. So believe it or not, that loss will not count on his record at this point. So, but Larry took 2nd. This guy beat him last year. And where's Larry? Where's he at right now? And what's he got to do to beat a guy who's kind of crafty like Mike D'Angelo?
Yeah, they actually split last year. So I think it's just got to give him a little bit better, a little bit better shape. He's right there, but I think, like I said, they split last year, so they know each other well. And for him, it's just going out there, with no reservations in terms of it doesn't matter who he's wrestling, and just trying to score points in every position and keep scoring points, not kind of sitting on leads and things like that. So he's not far off either, and we're working extremely hard with him right now, Coach Rodriguez and Coach McCarty, and getting him where he needs to be at the end of the year.
Yeah, and the question now is with Larry. He came in the end of his, redshirt freshman year, and then last year was his first full year with the program. Have you seen any difference from him in terms of, he's got that talent. We know he's got the talent with him coming out of high school, being number 1, number 2 in the country. But anything different with him this year at this point in the season than last year?
Yeah, I think he's starting to see some changes in his training habits a little bit. That's kind of being forced on him, and he's been very receptive of it. So a little bit of that, I think that's going to go far in him being a little more consistent this year, and in his matches and things like that. So another year of experience under his belt can always, there's no substitute for experience. So that will definitely help him in the long run this year.
Budak's coming off a red shirt. He was a scrappy guy. He's a guy that's been pushing for that spot. So how much is it going to help both those guys to be battling for that spot at 157?
Oh, I mean, it's definitely going to be important. Anytime you have somebody nipping at your heels, is always good. And you see the best programs; they always have, multiple guys that can step in, and there be no difference in results. So once you start having that, then you start seeing your program take jumps to the next level, because it's kind of success breeding success, and iron sharpening iron. So it's definitely important. And with Budak, he's actually making a descent down to 49 right now. So he's wrestling 57 early on and kind of bringing his weight down slowly and doing it the right way. But he still wanted to get out there, get experience and things like that. So he did some good things. Obviously, in his losses, it was evident that he was a little bit outsized. So I think he understands that. But for him right now, he's just getting that time and experience and bringing his weight down the right way.
Yeah, and that also, I guess, that we can backtrack there with Keenan Carter, and if Kevin bringing his weight down to 49, it's also going to push Keenan as well. So I mean, in that, when you're fighting for that spot, and you're a guy who had to fight for a spot at Illinois for a while, I mean, what is the mindset there from the guy looking to try to take that spot from the incumbent starter?
I think for me, I'll speak on the other end of it. For me, it was always, you had to have an iron mind a little bit and understand that it's all for good. And a little bit, I looked at it kind of, I'm not giving this spot up out of spite, and at the end of the day, as coaches, you're okay with the guy having that type of mindset if it's going to help him get better. So however you got to pull it out of guys, sometimes they don't think it's the best way, but at the end of the day, competition always helps speed up success and things like that. So you just got to look at it as a good thing and a positive and healthy thing. Have an iron mind, because at the end of the day, it's not going to be easy, but it's also not going to be easy to get on that podium and put yourself in position to win a national title.
165 pounds. Sheldon Wright has made the move back down to 65, where he wrestled the first 2 years at the program. First of all, why the move back down to 65 from 174?
I think it was a situation where he felt like last year against the upper echelon of guys, he was a little bit outsized. So for him, and trying to get the most out of his last year, he felt like it was best for his body, and us as a staff, we all talked together. It felt like it was best for his body and giving him the best chance to get on that podium as a senior was to go back down. So, and obviously his results were not there this weekend, and I think over time, as his body adjusts to the weight, his results will change, and he'll be just fine when it all matters.
Yeah, I'm looking at that result right off the bat against the kid from Stanford, and was that just a matchup situation? I mean, Sheldon doesn't get tech very often, so I'm just curious technically what happened there.
No, I think very talented freshman in Shane Griffith. I think he was number 1 or number 2 in the country at his weight coming out. But at the end of the day, that doesn't matter. That's not something that should happen. And it was a hotly contested match up until probably the end of the second or third, and I think that's where having a first round match like him, and first time down to 65, we kind of wore on something a little bit, and having a guy who's a freshman and maybe not being completely ready for him right out of the gate, knowing that he's going to be scrappy and tough, and usually the first round of a tournament, you're couple-time national qualifier. You're not expecting to have a tough one like that out of the gate. But again, you got to be ready at all times. And again, I think no excuses, but I think part of it is him getting used to the weight.
You know, this is a weight class where it looks like 5 guys competed. I mean, we talked about depth, but you know, there's some promise there with these younger guys. It looks like they were all in contention to win matches. I mean, talk about the depth at 65.
Yeah, we got quite a few. I think we have 6 or so guys there. I think Kellen Eckern, he's a freshman from Missouri. He wrestled well. Came about a match or so short of getting into that 5th place match. I think he won 3 or 4 matches and showed what he can do and what he's capable of. Jacob Curling did some good things, showed some good flashes. He's finally healthy this year behind Felton, and he showed some definite things. So we were excited to see that. You got a kid, Jack Bond from Illinois. He took 3rd in the state tournament. I think his only loss to the state tournament was to Abe Assad in the semifinals, 3-0 or something. So he's a talented, hard-nosed kid that you know, we think can do some good things in the future. So. Definitely got a lot of depth there, and guys, you know, pushing each other every day.
174 pounds. Shane Jones making a jump up a couple weight classes. Guy that's been with the program. He's spot started in occasions. The coaching staff has always liked his fight and liked his drive and his determination. New weight class. I mean, how helpful is this going to be for Shane?
I think it's big. Shane did a great job this summer, and knowing that this was what was going to happen. He did a great job of living in the weight room and eating the right things and getting his weight up and changing his body, and really just working hard. And he's benefited a lot from having Steven Rodriguez here, working with him on a daily basis. So he's done a great job, and you know, lost a couple tight matches there. Lost, I think, Ben Harvey, by a minor, but kind of got controlled. But I think for him, it's also figuring out the new weight class up and figuring out how to wrestle bigger guys a little bit. But he wrestles hard, and you know, he trains hard. For him, he's done a great job of putting himself in position to be the guy again.
Yeah, and look at some of those wins. I mean, Sage Heller from Hofstra's got a pretty solid. He's no pushover. And Josh Ugaldi from Maryland was a pretty highly touted recruit coming out of high school. So credential-wise, you're looking up, and those are 2 pretty decent wins to hang your hat on, at least this point in the season. Of course, you got some depth there as well. 184 pounds, Antonio Agee ends up in the finals, losing to Kevin Parker, who's older brother was an NCAA finalist for Princeton years ago, actually at my old roommate's weight class, that dreaded year in Albany. But, things did go so well for Antonio once he made the finals. But, 3 solid wins to get there. And, do you think this is the type of performance that can help him turn a corner instead of being in these tight ones and losing close or losing in overtime? And, he's going to start winning these close ones, save the final.
I really do. And I think, a big part of that, obviously, again, there's no substitute for experience. He's got 2 years under his belt now, and he's been working extremely hard this preseason and putting himself in position to do exactly what he did there and focusing on where he's good. So, and actually in that finals match, he was doing a great job, and was up winning in the first period. I think he go to the second period, and it's 2-1, and he goes on bottom, and Parker's pretty dang tough on top. Part of that's just us not knowing where the guy was good at. Didn't know. Obviously, I think that result can definitely be changed around. But again, you can't give up that many turns in that shorter time. So, but he's definitely on track, and we like where he's at right now. Yeah,
the funk factor with the Parker family is quite high. Just file that away in your mind next time. Wait, but you guys got the tape. You don't need that now. 197. Tim Young, junior college transfer, and Noah Bushman, true sophomore. Now, Young making that adjustment to Division I from junior college. And I'll be honest with you, I was kind of expecting a little bit better performance here. And what does Tim need to work on here his first week fully in Division I?
Yeah, just little mistakes. He's still got a lot of technical things that he's got to clean up. But there definitely is a ton of positives there. He's a hard-working kid. He's tough. He's tough mentally. So anytime you're tough and you work hard, good things will happen eventually. And I think just for him, it was first round he lost crazy match, like 13-11, just cleaning up little things there. And then the second match, he's in on the leg early to score against a guy that's pretty seasoned from actually wrestled 2 West Point guys. And, on the Constellation, in on the leg to score against a pretty seasoned guy that I guess gave Deckhouse goes back when he was in college. And has a leg up to score and just didn't finish the right way and ends up on his back. So just little positions, just is being green a little bit at this level, and knowing that, understanding that any little mistake you make is going to be capitalized on. So it's no longer, it's a little bit different level where your mistakes will be capitalized on.
And as far as Bushman goes, coming out getting Patrick Bruckey, pretty solid kid out of Prince, another Illinois guy. Go figure. There are Illinois guys everywhere, Daryl. They're everywhere. But with Bushman in his second year in the program, where did he improve in the offseason, and where does he still need to get better and to be basically a formidable position there at 197, whether it be him or Young in the lineup?
Yeah, I think right now he's taking the redshirt approach, which I think is good. Originally we had talked about him possibly moving down a weight class, and just when we got back into it this preseason, he wasn't that wasn't going to be possible for him to do, just based on where he was at. So he's still got some work to do, but he understands that, and he's not afraid of the work. So he's putting that time in right now, and I think that's probably the reason why he's going to look at redshirting and trying to develop and continue to get better.
So we moved to heavyweight, 3 bodies, very able-bodied. And then, of course, some of them are doing the whole, lose early and wrestle a ton of matches on the way back. You got to get them to win on the front side. Ali Wahab loses early, comes all the way back, and wrestles a ton of matches, gets through there to the 5th-place match. Then Will Hilliard on the top side, wrestled into the semis, and then bowed out with the medical forfeit. And then River Henry, a kid who came in and beat Hilliard in the intra-squad, big size to him, still a little green, getting his first taste of Division I action. And what are your thoughts about where the Monarch program sits at heavyweight? It looks like there's 3 really good options right now.
Yeah, we definitely have a few options. So Hilliard had a little tweak and pulled him out in the semis. He was wrestling pretty well at the time. And then after that, Wahab lost his first match. Kind of was a tight match with a guy from Army, I believe, and went on bottom and kind of gave up a turn. And but he roared back on the backside. I think he had 3 or 4 pins and a major decision on the backside. So he definitely showed some positive things there on the back end, and it's good to see him finally opening up and actually wrestling, actually putting wrestling holds together. So and then River, we thought he'd compete a little bit better, but again, it was a true open, no freshman sophomore division, and you figure out real quick what you got to work on. So that was good for him to at least understand what he needs to work on, what he needs to fix, and not that 2 tight matches where heavyweight they're all going to be like that. So he's got to get over the hump there.
Now, as we look at the duel coming into Missouri, what are some things that you guys had the chance to capitalize this week in practice with the guys that are going to be in the lineup against number 7 Missouri? This is a team that always comes in. They're always well coached with Brian Smith. It always seems like the Monarchs will hit Missouri in November, basically just getting punched in the face right at the start of the season. So what needs to be adjusted going into Mizzou, and realistically, what are the chances here to knock off the Tigers?
Yeah, I think obviously, like you said, they're always well coached, and I think with that you got to stay awake at the end of periods, and on the edge of the mat, they will try to take advantage of those situations, and then they're gonna hustle ride you on top, and put a tough ride on you. Not so much looking to turn you, but they're gonna ride you, and they're gonna make it extremely hard for you and make you earn your escape. So I think just being ready for that, like I said, staying focused for 7 minutes and getting to our offense right away. Not getting so caught up in the hand fight, and getting those guys to react and get them out of position so we can't see openings. So as far as an opportunity to knock them off, I think you take it 1 match at a time, and you make sure we have every guy prepared to go out there and put themselves in position to win, and then you let the chips fall where they may after that.
Yeah, the Tigers bring in 5 nationally ranked guys. Colby Smith off of a red shirt. He was a national qualifier as a true freshman at Appalachian State at 133. John Ernesty ranked 9th in the country. Jaden Ironman returning All-American at 141 pounds, so heads up right there with Sedarian Perry, 149. Grant Leith, who is his neck brace actually has quite a Twitter following. He's a guy that had injuries and actually got given 2 additional years by the NCAA. That's kind of crazy in terms of the hardship year. So he's an All-American. And then you've also got guys like Connor Flynn who have been there. Daniel Lewis is a multiple-time All-American. And then Zach Elam, a kid that they threw in out there as a true freshman at heavyweight who was second in the world at Junior World Championships just a month and a half ago in Slovakia. So matchup-wise, if we see Miguel, I'm looking at this going, knowing Colby Smith is coming down off of where he wrestled 33 2 years ago. I'm looking at say if this one starts at 25, you got a guy coming up the scale. Is probably an optimal matchup for McGee if he's going to get to go. A guy coming off the scale making a big cut.
Yeah. And I think for either guy that we put out there, they're going to go out there and because Killian wrestles hard, 7 minutes. So either guy we put out is I think we're going to be. We like the matchup. We know where he's good, and we know we have our guys prepared. For that, and then, like I said, have them prepared and in position, give themselves a chance and put themselves in position to win, and let the chips fall where they may. But they will be prepared, and we understand that he's coming down. We understand where he's good at. Those guys will be ready. So we like our matchup.
133, probably looking at Steve Simpson getting to go here.
We're still sifting through that this week and kind of seeing what we want to do. We want to kind of see some things in practice this week and kind of make a decision as we get closer.
Now, Cedarian Perry and Jaden Ironman met one time last year. It was when Cedarian was at Eastern Michigan. That one won by fall by Ironman. Of course, Ironman's a guy who can pin you from pretty much anywhere. Dangerous matchup. And how much of film are you going to look at a November matchup with a guy you're going to see later on down the year in conference and maybe in some of the key rounds of the NCAAs? I mean, how important is this matchup?
Oh, it's big. It's big because, and you know what? It's huge for Cedarian. He's wrestled before. He knows where he's good. We've wrestled him as a program before. We know where he's good. And I think it's big because Cedarian is he's a very cerebral wrestler. And the more times that he gets his hands on you, he's that much closer to figuring you out. So that's one thing I did notice about him. And like I said, he's pretty cerebral in his approach. And when he wrestles you one time, it clicks for him and he understands how to wrestle you. So we're excited for that matchup. And, he's ready to go.
Now, Keenan Carter wrestled Grant Leaf pretty tight at the conference tournament a year ago. Again, this is the type of thing where if you're looking for a breakthrough type of win, no better opportunity to do it on your own mats in Norfolk. But type of athlete Grant Leaf is. This is a tough matchup for anybody, much less Keenan Carter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He knows where Leaf is good. We know where Leaf is good, and he's had this one circled since probably the I think it was quarters or semis of the MAC tournament. So this is a big match for him. He understands that. You try not to put emphasis on matches, but he knows how important this could be for him and putting himself in position to get to the tournament and put himself on the podium. So he's excited. He knows where he's good, but at the same time, he's even keel and he's just focusing on getting himself better every day and trying to add to his arsenal.
Now, Missouri has a ton of different options there at 157. They wrestled Luke Stiegel against Illinois. So it looks like Mr. Early would be the favorite on paper there. Don't really know a whole lot about who Missouri's going to send out at 165. They do have Connor Flynn, who's a transfer. He's a Missouri native, was a transfer from West Virginia. This one I see as a toss-up. Flynn's got, he's got the credentials, whereas Selden has the experience. This one looks like it could go either way in terms if you're looking at this from a non-ODU, non-Missouri matchup, you're like, oh, that one could be close. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think last year we wrestled Luke Drugak against Flynn, and he wrestled him fairly well. So again, we know where he's good, and I think this is a big opportunity for Selden to right a wrong from this past week, and he's already got his weight better in check this week. So we're excited. It's a big one for him, and as a senior, he's got a huge opportunity to right a wrong from last week, I think.
174 pounds. This is a tall order. Daniel Lewis is one of the most dominant wrestlers in the NCAA in terms of putting up bonus points. This guy can pin you from anywhere. Shane Jones, this will be his first real massive test at the weight class. And, what's the strategy against a guy that's dangerous like Daniel Lewis?
Stay where you're good or stay away from where he's good. But he's pretty good in a lot of places.
He's pretty good in a lot of places, yeah.
Pretty good in a lot of places. So, for Shane, it's going out there and putting his skills on display, not taking a back seat and just letting it all fly. Having fun out there and competing. That's really what it's about for Shane with this match, and we know he'll do that.
Wyatt Coling is Missouri's guy at 197. He wrestled heavyweight towards the end of the year last year, was an undersized 84-pounder, essentially going heavyweight as Mizzou had some lineup issues. Seems to have settled in at 97. Had a decent win over Andre Lee. This guy is kind of a scrappy guy from Illinois. You know, your alma mater. I realize I'm talking about, you know, Missouri beating up your alma mater a couple days ago, but we're looking at this matchup. You know, Tim Young going to get to go. I mean, again, this one looks toss up.
Yeah. Again, it's another opportunity for Tim to kind of cement himself at this level, and if he closes some holes and mistakes that he made this past weekend at Princeton, that I think he'll definitely be right in the match. So he's already been back to work and corrected mistakes from this past weekend, and we're excited to see him lay it on the line and display his skills and show exactly what he's about again on Sunday.
All right, heavyweight, I got no clue what the heck you guys are going to do, so I'm just going to throw it up in the air. What the heck are you guys going to do?
Yeah, we'll see where Hilliard is as the week progresses, and then we'll kind of decide from there between him and Wahab. So Wahab had a good showing on the backside, and so we'll decide as the week goes on who we're going to put out there. And then River, he'll be competing this weekend at East Stroudsburg Open, getting some more experience under his belt. State showing exactly what he is capable of.
And as you allude to East Stroudsburg, what are the other, is you taking a whole crew up to East Stroudsburg as far as the red shirts go, or the freshmen?
We'll send the 12 red shirts, and then we'll also send probably send another 5 or 6 guys that are attached that won't be wrestling this weekend, and we'll send those guys up to East Stroudsburg to get some more matches in.
As we look at it, Sunday, 1 p.m. on the 11th at the TED against number 7 Missouri. It is a whiteout where white. I'm guessing we're going to see the new white singlets out there on display, right?
Yeah, we will. We'll bust out the white singlets. The guys are excited about that, itching to throw those on for the first time in competition. So we'll have a whiteout. We're excited, and we hope that the fans show up in full effect and pack the TED Conference Center.
Yeah, what do we got? We got any football tailgate happenings as the Monarchs will host North Texas this week as well?
Yeah, North Texas will tailgate on Saturday. I think the game's at 3:30, so it'll probably be like 12 to 3. Tailgate, got a couple unofficial recruits coming in. So, yeah, big weekend for us.
Yeah, this was the weekend I was like, do I come back? And then it's like, I just got back from Budapest. My wife's in Singapore. Yeah, it's not happening. So I will be back, barring my kid's illness for the VMI football game. Unfortunately, it's not an ODU wrestling weekend. But, so I miss Mizzou this year, but in the world of the TED, I'll be back there in Norfolk to at least catch my one football game this year, and then I'll see you guys down the line. But, Daryl Thomas, any final thoughts for Monarch Nation out there listening, getting an update on what to expect this coming week for Monarch Wrestling?
No, we're excited for Missouri to match up with Missouri. Good opportunity to see where we're at again. And then I think signing dates on November 14th. We got a phenomenal recruiting class coming in that we're very, very excited about. It should be a nationally ranked recruiting class, so we're happy about that, and moving forward 1 week at a time.
Show is part of the Matt Talk Podcast Network. For more wrestling podcasts, head over to MattTalkOnline.com.